I would like to start first with just a welcome to our audience. And if you don't mind, I would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you can rise, let's rise and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Tonight we have before us, I just want to start first with our distinguished panel here up front. We do have Mrs. Lupe Encinas, and she is a candidate for the Yucca District. Lupe, wave. Thank you. And then also we have Mr. Lupe, am I saying that right? Conscious. And he is a candidate for our Cactus District. Thank you. I do want to let you know, I see a new friend came in my door. I do want to let you know that we, unfortunately due to schedule conflicts, we do not have our other candidates. Miss Diana Guzman was unavailable to come tonight, as well as current Vice Mayor Ian Hugh. Unfortunately, schedule conflicts arise and we just have to continue on. So we will just hear from these two candidates tonight. My name is Cheryl Kappas, and I am the current president of the GFWC Glendale Women's Club, and I will be your moderator for this evening. I do thank all of our club members who have come here tonight to support us. Seated in the front row is Linda Moran Whitley, and next to her is Miss Grace Kovacek, our second vice president. And they're going to be our timers for tonight. I want to point them out because they got a lovely little card over there, and they're going to be timing you. As you know from our candidate rules that were passed out earlier, most of the questions are going to be 2 minutes, and then they're going to give you a warning at 30 seconds. And when to stop. And when, have you ever heard stop means stop? Let's go with that tonight, okay? Thank you. I do want to thank also our other club members in attendance tonight. I believe we have Joan Mertens and Naomi Burkill over working on our Facebook Live. I don't know if I've seen Lisa, but we have Marilyn Prince, Jane Buckley. I think I've seen Marty Cole, Martha Dennis. Oh yes, and we have former Mayor Elaine Scruggs, and I'm proud to call her our club member these days in our audience tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And looking around the room, I think I see one more, Carol Pentowski, is able to make it tonight, and Lorraine Zoma. Let's see, miss any other club members? Perhaps not, but thank you so much for coming tonight and supporting the event. I do want to recognize our dignitaries in the audience tonight from our city of Glendale. We do have former council member and former Vice Mayor Jamie Aldana and his wife Monica. We do also have former Vice Mayor and council member Yvonne Knack. And former council member Gary Sherwood. And I think I might have saw council member, okay, Bart Turner. Current council member for the Barrel District. And then, did I see Ray sneak in? Council member Ray Mountenauer from the Florida District. So again, thank you all for supporting us in our event tonight. We're just trying to continue the traditions and help the community get to know perhaps our future council members in a more personal way, responding to the questions that the public has submitted. I do want to take a moment to thank Matt from the community college last minute come in to rescue us to film this so that we will be able to put it up on YouTube. And we do have Facebook Live. And I see we have some other cameras there. And Betty Sharp, thank you so much for coming to take some pictures tonight. We really appreciate it. Might have missed somebody else from the media, but I just want to thank everybody for your support. Our goal is to get this video done, and then we will have it uploaded by the end of this week for sure. Thanks, Naomi, for monitoring our phone over there. Hopefully you don't run into any technical difficulties, or if you do, call a friend. All right. So even though we don't have Channel 11 like we've had in the past, you know, from the city of Glendale, I think that we've got some pretty good coverage, and I'm happy to carry on. And now I would just like to thank the audience really for taking your time to come out of the busy heat and come here to support this event. It's important to have everybody gather around and share and help support our candidates in all the ways that we can. So I appreciate it. Let me catch up on my notes here quickly. As you saw when you came in the back of the room, I did go ahead and print out a couple copies of the candidate forum rules that we plan to follow tonight. We did send invitations only to those council seats that had an opponent in order to have just more time to focus on I'll say the potential runoff races, and that way you would have a better chance to know your options and to hear from those choices that you have. The candidates received a copy of the forum rules, and they, as we understand, we're planning to, I have collected questions from the public, and our intention is that I'll read the question. You'll have 2 minutes to respond to each question, and watching your timer closely. I have about 15 questions or somewhere in that neighborhood, but we'll get through as many as we can. So you'll answer. You don't need to string it out, in other words. We'd like to answer all the questions, but you don't have to rush either. You take your time right up until that timekeeper tells you to stop. Okay? And now, if you don't mind, I would like to allow you to start with opening statements. So, I don't know, you're closest to me. May I invite Mr.
Conchas.
Mr. Conchas. Please, take the mic.
Well, good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Lupe Conchas y yo soy un candidato para el concejal de la ciudad de Glendale. I'm thrilled to be here tonight to share my vision for a better future and also why I am the best candidate for the Cactus District for the city of Glendale. Now, growing up, I've experienced extreme poverty. I've also moved around a lot. I've experienced food insecurity. And I know that these experiences have made me the strong person that I am today. Mis abuelitos fueron campesinos aquí en Glendale. My family comes from farm workers here in Glendale. And for me, I was baptized at Our Lady of Guadalupe Capilla Church, and my mom instilled in me a love for public service at a very young age. I'm the first person in my family to graduate college and get a bachelor's degree. I'm a small business owner. I'm also the president of the Alhambra Elementary School District Governing Board, and I'm a viable candidate for the Glendale City Council. Cactus District voters have a choice, whether to stay stuck in the past or whether to move forward with a new vision and a better representation on the Glendale City Council. Now more than ever, we need transparency, we need accountability, and we need ethical leadership at City Hall. My campaign is focused on 3 main issues: public safety, affordable housing, and economic opportunity for all. I'm committed to working closely with our police and fire departments to ensure that they have the resources that they need, and I want to be 100% clear tonight. I will be a strong ally to our men and women in uniform. I will work tirelessly to ensure that every Glendale resident has a safe and affordable place to affordable place to call home, and we also need economic opportunity for everyone. I also believe that small business owners need as much support as possible, and I am ready to listen, ready to act, and I'm ready to bring people together as the next city councilman for the city of Glendale for the Cactus District. So tonight, I hope to earn your trust and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you so much to the Glendale Women's Club for being here, for allowing me to be here, and I look forward to a lively discussion.
All right then, Mrs. Encinas, would you please give us your opening statement?
Hello, everybody. Full disclosure, I'd rather be knocking on doors right now than right here in front of you, honestly. I'm very nervous. This is my first time doing anything in this category before, but I am very humbled and I am very excited. My name is Lupe Encinas. I am your candidate for Yaca District. I am very excited to be here with you and to express my excitement that I've been having at the doors. I am a mother of 3 boys. My husband and I have been together for 21 years. I was raised in Glendale. I went to Minson-Dick, Challenger, and graduated from Glendale High School. I'm truly rooted in our community here in Glendale. I am a small business owner in my community. I've been engaged with different organizations, programs, and PTAs here in my community. I'm not a politician. I'm running based on my merits and not on a political agenda. I will continue to run a nonpartisan campaign to represent all of my community, not just some, all. You might ask, what are your merits? I'm a small business owner who survived a recession. I was able to also keep everybody employed in my business. We survived COVID. The recession, I'm a mother raising her kids in this Glendale who wants a safe community for my kids and yours. I'm a proud homeowner who's in her forever home, and I'm serious about safety. I want fire and law enforcement to have all necessary resources available. Don't confuse my kindness with weakness. I will stand up for you and my community. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll begin with our questions. Again, what I'm going to ask during the question and answer period is please hold all your applause and yippies and dances. Let's save that for the end when we can have a rousing applause. Okay? In no particular order, I have a group of questions for you, and I'd like to start this one with Mrs. Encinas, and then we'll just flip back and forth so that you can have a chance to start first each time, okay? So the first question that I have for you is, please explain your explanation of the open meeting law and how it applies to all forms of communication.
Open meeting law. I'm sorry, but I'm not very familiar with this law. My main focus has been really right now knocking on my residents' doors. I believe that when you start a new venture or any business or any educational new ventures, you need to find out exactly what your target is, who it is that you're going to be working for. So at this time, most of my education, most of my time, I've been dedicating it to the doors and knocking on people's doors and getting to know what it is that they are looking for in a councilwoman. And right now, it is definitely someone who is going to be transparent and who will be listening to everything that they are looking to do. I have been talking to them about different issues in the city that they are very concerned about. Right now, like I said, my main focus is learning what it is that they're looking for, what it is that they have been missing, all of their concerns in those doors. So at this time, that is my answer at this moment.
Yeah, I would just encourage us that, if you aren't fully, I'll say up to speed on the topic, it's okay just to say shortly that, we don't need to go into the other parts about what we're doing.
Okay, I can definitely do that.
It'll just help us with timing, okay? Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the question. First and foremost, the Glendale City Council works for us, the residents of Glendale. And my campaign is focused on three things: transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership. The open meeting law is in place so that there are no backroom deals happening, so that the people know exactly what decisions are being made, what discussions are happening. And so my experience being the president of the Alhambra Elementary School District Governing Board is to ensure that since we have a 5-member board, there are never an open quorum or a walking quorum or anybody discussing matters that should be discussed in front of the public. And now we've seen on the Glendale City Council, particularly with my opponent, that there have been decisions that have been made in these back rooms. There have been decisions that have been made with their donors, with the variety of different people who have not seen exactly what's going on or who is a part of these discussions. And so for me, I want to ensure that we have all of these discussions, that we empower our boards and commissions, because we need to ensure that people, as many people as possible, are brought to the decision-making table.
Thank you. Okay, question number 2. Glendale used to have a Glendale First policy that gave a preference in contract awards to those businesses who are located in Glendale. When dealing locally, research says the owners are more responsive and work quickly to resolve problems before they become major issues. The Glendale First policy seemed to stop without notice. Change in policy was not announced or made public. So first, do you support having a Glendale First purchasing policy? And if that answer is yes, will you take action, commit to creating council item of special interest in your first, I don't know how many days, to bring back that Glendale First policy? Is that clear?
That is clear. That is clear, and first and foremost, what I'll say is that I cannot make any commitments today because I need to get in there and I need to ask the Cactus District voters what it is that they want. And so when it comes to the Glendale First policy, I think that's a good policy, and I think that it's something that we should be doing. One of the things that I've been talking to voters at when I'm at the doors is the Vi Resort parking garage. When it comes to this Glendale First policy, this development and the plans for it and the design was already created before the procurement process, before the RFP process. And so that is not transparent. That is not what should be happening at the City Council. And so for me, I am going to look at this policy and seriously consider it, because we need to support our small business owners, even our big business owners here in the City of Glendale, and that's why I am endorsed by the Glendale Chamber of Commerce.
As a small business owner, this is the Glendale First is very, I want to make sure that we are transparent and that we really look into this law a little bit more deeper. I would continue to knock on doors to learn exactly what it is that our residents would like to see. It is very important for us as council members to reconnect with our residents and to make sure that we are able to represent our growth in our community, which involves big business, and also not let our small businesses be left behind. So yes, I am willing and I am open to sit down and learn more about this proposition and the extending of what this would mean to our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think Mrs. Encinas, you'll be first again. The next question. Should the city have an independent auditor appointed by the city council who then reports to the city council and not the city manager?
Yes, so this is a big concern that I've been getting from a lot of the residents in my community. It is very important that we have a separate auditor so we can make sure that everything is being transparent and that we are getting all the information that we need, not only for legal purposes, but so our residents are reassured that everything that they are being taxed on, everything that is being done in their community is being represented the right way, and having that auditor will make that a much better, transparent process at this time. So definitely is something that I would support and I am behind on. I definitely want to see someone in that position. So I would definitely support that.
Thank you.
When it comes to being an independent auditor, I think that the residents of Glendale should be outraged that we currently do not have one. This is something that is extremely important when it comes to our taxpayer money. These are hard working people who are giving their taxes, whether through sales tax or property tax, or a variety of different taxes to the city of Glendale to ensure that we have enough first responders, that we have enough paramedics, that we have enough services for our parks and our trash. And so an independent auditor is extremely important. We've heard these countless anecdotes of politicians who are out taking trips on the taxpayer dime, having luxury lobster dinners, and a variety of different things that they should not be doing. And so we need to ensure that we have an independent auditor so that the people of Glendale can restore trust and know that their taxpayer money is going exactly where we're telling them it's going.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Conchas, will you be first? There is still a major lack of transparency on the sale of city property. All the deals are completed in secrecy by the city manager. The council hears about them in an executive session, but the first time the public finds out about it is when they show up on a voting meeting agenda. This has been going on since the sale of the St. Vincent de Paul building, and even recently the sale of the black lot in Westgate on June 28th council meeting. Please comment on how you would work to ensure the public will have fair opportunity to learn about and comment on planned city actions.
Well, I really appreciate this question, and it just continues the theme of transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership. You know, I really respect my opponent's service to the city of Glendale, but all of these things that we're talking about have been happening under his term, under his purview. And when it comes to the sale of city property, that property belongs to all of us. That property belongs to everybody of every walk of life. And for these deals to be happening in executive session without having proper input from people, that is just unacceptable. And I think that when we think about these practices, we need to ensure that people restore trust in the city council. And so that's why for me, I intend to have a citizens advisory council of Cactus District voters from all different walks of life to come to me and let's talk about these issues. And the thing about it too is when you put things in executive session, that means that you cannot talk about them outside of executive session because of the law. And so if those things are being put in executive session, it's because they want to keep people out, and I want to bring more people in.
Thank you.
When I came into the Glendale district, this was a major topic. As a resident, I really didn't know that this was happening until I was part of the downtown community. And a lot of these things that are happening in our city, a lot of our residents are unaware of. Again, I keep going back to knocking on doors because this is a big concern that our residents are very disconnected with the city. They feel that they're not being represented. They feel that that we here in the city are not being transparent when it comes to dealings with city property, city issues. So I am running a campaign based on being transparent, making sure that my residents get the information that they need to make those votes so people can vote for the right people. As well, and not based on lies. We need to make sure that we are transparent and that we come across and we get this information to the residents as quickly as we can in different ways as well. Not only through our technology, but also a lot more paper mail outs because a lot of our residents, especially in my area, are older and they're not into the technology. So yes, transparency is something that I would love to see, and it would make all these transactions in the city not seem illegal.
All right then. The office of a Glendale council member is nonpartisan. It appears some of this year's election campaign has been redirected specifically to residents registered with that candidate's political party. How will you prove to your constituents that you will represent all equally?
I'm glad I'm the first one in this question. So I have been a victim of exactly this. I've been running my campaign with honor, with being very humble and based on my merits. The only reason why I decided to run was because this is a nonpartisan race. I am here because I want to represent all of my residents, not caring that they have a D, an R, or an I. I'm here to represent families. I'm here to represent communities, small business, big business. I want to bring our community together again. It is very important that this is very clear, that this position to be a councilwoman, a council member, is to continue to be a nonpartisan. It's hard enough with all the ugliness that's happening out there. We need to make sure that our council member position is nonpartisan. We are here to represent all people and not just one community. Thank you.
Thank you.
For me and for my campaign, I am committed to reaching out to every single voter, regardless of their political affiliation. I've talked to Libertarians, I've talked to No Labels Party, I've talked to Green Party, I've talked to Republicans, and I've talked to Democrats. Now, one of the things that we need to ensure is that independents receive a ballot for the city council, because currently they need to request a ballot in order to participate. In Cactus District, independents or non-affiliated voters are the biggest voting group, and yet they only vote at about 800 or up to 1,000 per city council election. And so for me, I want to advocate for our independence. And I also just want to say that for me, I am going to reach out to everyone. I've knocked on people's doors. I've knocked especially on Republicans' doors who said, hey, you came to my door in this heat. I'm going to vote for you because you are out here doing the work. And I have had countless conversations with libertarians as well about the same issue. But with my time here and with this platform, I want to say clearly that I wish that Ms. Guzman was here, because she could potentially be the next Yucca District City Councilwoman. And I want to be able to work with her, and I want to be able to be a partner with her if she is part of that. Now, if Ms. Encinas comes in, I will also need to get to know her and her style of working. But one person in particular has made this city council election extremely partisan, nasty, malicious, with misinformation, and that is Ms. Clark.
Yes.
Hold your refrain. Thank you. Next question. Mr. Conchas, could be first. Glendale's budget will always have more wants or needs than revenue. There are times when a project within a district may need to be postponed in order to afford a project needed by the entire city. How will you, as a district council member, handle these situations as the entire city council works to develop a city budget?
Thank you. Now, of course, we are heading towards a budget deficit when it comes to the city of Glendale, and so we are going to need to make some extremely hard choices. Now, we need to ensure that we have our police, we have our fire, we have our trash, we have our parks, and we have all of the essential services needed for our community to continue thriving. And so for me, when it comes to budget cuts, I think that participatory budgeting is extremely important. That means going out to my residents and having town halls and having meetings with them and saying, hey, this is the amount that we have in our pot, this is how much we need to cut. What are your top 3 priorities so that I can go to the city council and advocate for those? And some of the things that I will ensure that we are not doing is putting a gym in the new city hall renovations so for city employees, because that's not something that's going to be accessible to all of our city, our residents in Cactus District, and we need to ensure that we are spending money on things that people need and that people care about.
Thank you. Mrs. Encinas?
Yes. So budgets is something that I'm very familiar with. As a small business owner, I always have to be very careful on making sure that we have enough for everything. We have to prioritize. We need to plan for the future. I always make sure that I always plan for the worst case scenario. So we would need to make sure that we prioritize the needs and make sure that everything that is going to be going to a certain project is what our community is looking for. I know that in my district, a lot of things have been happening that our residents don't know about, and our parks and our streets are being neglected because there's other things being in place. I know that I've had a lot of complaints about a street in particular in my district that it has just been sitting there, and every time that I go visit my sister, I have to take that street, and there's a lot of potholes there. So I know that potholes are, it's part of our city, it's part of what we're gonna be dealing with, but my street recently got paved, and it was very nice. Compared to the street that has been going towards Northern, it's 83rd and Glendale. Again, prioritizing where the money should be going to is going to be, and making sure that our budget is being overlooked, and making sure that we're being transparent along the way is something that we definitely need to make sure. And I will make sure that our residents are aware of all the choices that we are making at this time, or during the time of the project in place.
Thank you. And yeah, do you need a drink in between questions here? Because you're going to be first.
I've been just focusing on the time, so I'm like.
You guys are doing great. We're getting through the questions really well, so thank you so much. All right, this is a little bit long-winded, but I think you need to hear the whole thing. What are your priorities for the Glendale Police Department if elected? Do you believe that department needs more or less sworn personnel? Should police resources be shifted to different areas of emphasis based on what you see in your district? Or would you favor bolstering social safety net programs on root causes of some crime, domestic violence, homelessness, drug rehabilitation, thus allowing the police to focus more on enforcement? Do I need to break that up some more? But yeah, let me just read it again. The way I take it is that what are your priorities for the Glendale Police Department? Do you believe the department needs more or less sworn personnel? That is really the question. They have given you some background thought process, I guess. Should police resources be shifted to different areas of emphasis based on what you see in your district? Or would you favor instead bolstering social safety net programs on root causes of some crime, like domestic violence, homelessness, drug rehabilitation, thus allowing the police to focus more on enforcement? Does that make sense?
Yes. It's a lot in that question.
Good luck. Good luck.
Okay, so in my particular district, definitely more, as my district is the entertainment district here in Yaka. As we continue to add the Vi Resort, as we continue to add these special entertainments, we are going to need more personnel for our security, for the security of our residents, for the security of our children. There's been a wave of violence in Westgate that me as a mom, I am very concerned. I know that I've been talking to a lot of our residents as I'm door knocking, and they're very concerned about the violence that is happening at Westgate, the shootings. They believe, they're asking where are our officers, where do we stand with not having in more than enough police officers in these certain areas. I know that at this time we don't have enough officers, and one of my priorities is making sure, I know that we just hired 13 more officers in our district. I know that's gonna help, but it's never going to be enough at this time because of our growing community, because of our growing district. The more police officers for sure, our resources, we need to make sure that our police officers have the resources that they need to be able to keep our community safe. I know that they have just gotten a new department that they're going to be using. They just got new cameras, new communication equipment that I was very excited that they received as well. They also have the CAP program that I'm very involved in. I've been participating with them in different events. So yes, our priority should always be safety.
Thank you. Mr. Contis?
For me, when I'm knocking on doors, I hear a lot about speed enforcement and speed safety. We've had 2 fatalities in the Cactus District. One was a child who was run over on a bike, and also another person was a pedestrian who unfortunately died after being hit by a car. And so I have been talking to residents about solutions, and that includes more motorcycle police when it comes to speed enforcement and giving out a little bit more speeding tickets so that people know that the Glendale police are watching. Other things that I want to ensure is that I want to tell our men and women in uniform, our police officers, that I will be an ally. On my first day in office, I want to meet with the police chief and say, hey, I am here with the Cactus District, and I want to ensure that we have a great relationship, and you can trust me as a city council person who is not going to cut the budget, who is not going to advocate for anything negative towards our police and fire. When it comes to my experience with our Glendale police, they are very nice in terms of the interactions. And the interactions that I had recently is I've seen the police save lives. There have been instances when people were overdosing in Bonzo Park, and the police were there with Narcan, and the police were there with the paramedics and literally revived somebody from an overdose. And so when it comes to safety, that's number one for me when it comes to our residents, because whenever there is violence, whenever there's a threat, whenever there is somebody that's unsafe in our neighborhoods, the people that we call are the Glendale police. And so I want to ensure that they have the resources that they need, while also partnering with nonprofit organizations, because the city of Glendale doesn't need to do it all. We can partner with nonprofit organizations to ensure that we have addressing all these resources that you talked about, such as domestic violence, mental health, and addiction resources.
Thank you. Thanks for working through our difficult questions sometimes. All right, here we go. And I believe ready to go there, Mr. Conchas. Here you go. Each year, purchases under $50K total to millions of taxpayer dollars spent that are awarded with very little due diligence. A current out-of-state contractor has open lawsuits in 4 different states. What is your plan to ensure contractors hired by the city are properly vetted?
Well, I think my answer will be simple, is that we need to hire an independent auditor. I think that will help with all of these issues, and I think that the more information that city council people get about what's happening in the budget, the better.
Thank you. Ms. Encinas?
Yes. So contracts is something that I'm very familiar with. I get to review contracts on a daily basis and making sure that we are aware of all the details, and having someone that is continuously doing these audits on these contracts is going to be very key. We need to make sure that everybody is kept on a budget, and making sure that our citizens and residents are aware of the transparency of these contracts, so we're not caught off guard.
Thank you. And you ready for the next question? Okay, let's go for an easy one. What do you believe is the city's role in K through 12 education?
Well, as a mother,
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I've been recently more involved. I am the vice president of PTA in my son's school. So education is something that I am fully supporting. As parents in general, we should make sure that our kids are getting all of the education that they can. Our city role is to make sure that we have communication with these districts to make sure that we are keeping our children safe, that we are keeping our children educated in all aspects. We need to make sure that we are involved in our kids. They are our future. So we need to be a little bit more knowledgeable with what our cities can do to help our school system in our neighborhoods, because they are part of our Glendale City District.
Thank you. Mr. Conchas?
Thank you. So I believe that the city of Glendale has a role when it comes to pre-K education as a support. I know that as the president of the Alhambra Elementary School District Governing Board, we have 2 schools here in Glendale, right in my neighborhood, and then the other 14 campuses are in Phoenix. The city of Phoenix provides a $4.2 million Head Start and pre-K grant from the federal government. And I always thought, why has the city of Glendale not had any type of funding for Head Start? And so I think that we could also apply for federal grants when it comes to after-school programs, when it comes to childcare. And on the local level, we have Rose Lane Pool. We could do swimming lessons and ensure that all of our kids are safe around water. We also can have partnerships with our libraries and encourage our kids to read and to enhance our literacy. But most importantly to me is emergency preparedness. I think that when it comes to the Glendale Police and with the Glendale Fire, having a plan in place in case there's ever a tragic event such as a mass shooting, because we've seen gun violence happen all across America, and especially in our schools. So we need to make sure that our kids are safe, and that means having a strong partnership between the school districts and with the police and fire departments.
Thank you. You need a drink? You ready? Give you a second there. I'm gonna turn the air down a little bit. All right, here you go. There seems to be a common theme in the newspaper headlines. Glendale's getting sued again. What we thought we could just do and was the accepted plan during workshop meetings proved to be an unreliable path, which led to another lawsuit. I guess it does not always come through and we end up getting sued. So the question is, how many lawsuits is too many? What do you think should be done to reduce Glendale's legal issues?
Well, obviously the easy answer is that no, we should not be having any lawsuits. But at the same time, I can't say that as a blanket because every situation is extremely different. So what I do want to say is that Glendale keeps getting sued. We've seen the headlines. When it comes to my opponent, who has been on the council for 16 non-consecutive years, what I've seen recently in the past few years is that there's never any questions from my council member about these deals or these things that are going on. It's always a yes vote, yes vote, yes vote, yes vote. And so I think that for me, as a Cactus District City Council member, I will be asking the questions about what is going on in these proposals. I will be making sure that I'm doing my research and that I'm speaking for the residents of Cactus District. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm running for the city councils, because when I watch these city council meetings, I never hear any discussion about how will this affect Cactus? How will Cactus residents benefit from this? And Cactus District voters like me, we need a voice. We need a leader. We need somebody who's going to be an independent thinker, and that person is going to be me.
Thank you.
So the answer is, of course, 0. We shouldn't be getting sued. I think we have more than enough smart people in the city that should be overviewing these cases based case by case. makes you wonder why we keep getting sued. Do we really have the right people in our city making these decisions? Are we being careless? I don't know how to answer that question until I'm able to get more information and be there to question everything. And I think as a council member, that is part of our job, to go in there and make to be prepared to ask all the questions that are needed, to get the answers that we need to bring back to our community, so we could, again, make sure that we make the right decisions and avoid all these being sued, because that costs us as residents money that could be going to other projects.
Thank you. You need a cold drink? Okay, I got a long-winded one here, so take a moment and think this one over. In the past 2 years, the Arizona State Legislature has acted with increased hostility towards cities throughout Arizona, working to erode and in some cases obliterate local control without our communities. The most egregious and pressing issue involves the legislature's attempt to take away the city's zoning rights under the guise of solving the amount and cost of housing. These actions are extremely frightening to our citizens who have invested their savings in their neighborhoods, guided by the city's general plans. Their rights to expect continuity in their single-family residential areas are threatened. The question is, will you sincerely support the legislative priorities of municipalities throughout Arizona as voted through the League of Arizona Cities and Towns to retain local control? So again, the question, will you sincerely support the legislative priorities of municipalities throughout Arizona as voted through the League of Arizona Cities and Towns to retain local control?
As a council member, I think it is our job to make sure that we keep up with these legislative laws that are coming into place and that are already in place. It is very important that what we bring to the table is what it is that our residents need, and to make sure that our zoning laws are being backed by our city, and that we make sure that we don't lose control. Hostility is a huge word when it comes to a local office and what we are going to be doing. I believe that I would support what it is that our neighbors and what our residents are looking for at that moment.
Thank you.
Could you please repeat the question?
No problem. The question or all the extra stuff? Okay. In the past 2 years, the Arizona State Legislature has acted with increased hostility towards cities throughout Arizona, working to erode and in some cases obliterate local control without our communities, or within our communities, maybe, I don't know. The most egregious and pressing issue involves the legislature's attempt to take away cities' zoning rights under the guise of solving the amount and cost of housing. These actions are extremely frightening to our citizens who have invested their savings in neighborhoods guided by cities' general plans. Their rights to expect continuity in their single-family residential areas are threatened. So the question is, will you sincerely support the legislative priorities of municipalities throughout Arizona as voted through the League of Arizona Cities and Towns to retain local control?
Well, 100% I support local control. I think that local control is extremely important, and that's why I appreciate the district model that we have here in the city of Glendale, so that I can represent Cactus. Cactus District is a very special place because we have, of course, our single-family homes, and then we have north of Orangewood, and then south of Orangewood, we have multifamily, we have townhomes, we have apartments, we have a variety of different things. But that's just not by choice. I think that I'm one of the only candidates who is actually talking about the racial segregation and the racial history that we have here in the city of Glendale. And so when it comes to our zoning laws, yes, we need to ensure that everybody is brought to the decision-making table. But when I hear these words, hostility, aggression, threatened, frightened, oftentimes that is placed on people like me, people that look like me, renters, people who can't afford a down payment, people who are refugees or people that are coming into our community seeking asylum. And so for me, when I think about this question, I think that there's a lot of loaded words to it. And I think that for me, I will commit to local control, and that means talking to our Cactus District voters about what it is that they want, and if there's a new project or a zoning proposal, to bring it to them and to make sure that they have my email, my phone number, they have a town hall meeting with me to talk about it. And I think that I will be a partner with the League of Cities and Towns. I will go to their conferences and their professional developments. I will work with the city council to make sure that our input is put into their legislative priorities. But the people that I answer to are the Glendale city voters and the Cactus District.
Thank you. I'll talk to a shorter question. Do you promise to uphold the city charter 100% to the best of your ability? And if you find a violation, report it. Make it get corrected in a timely manner. So, Mr. Conscious, you first.
100%, and I think that it's important when we, if I become the next city councilman for Cactus, I will do exactly what I did when I became on the school board, and that is to pledge my oath to the state of Arizona, to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona, and to the United States Constitution. And so for me, when I become city councilman for the Cactus District, I'm going to put my hand on the Bible, and I'm going to have an oath that I will uphold the laws of the city of Glendale, the charter, the state of Arizona, and also the United States Constitution. So my answer is yes, and I will make sure that I will report that. But the most important piece is who do we report it to, and who is that enforcer? And so we need to ensure that we have those mechanisms to enforce these violations of the law.
Thank you.
So yes, it's part of being transparent. We don't only need to make sure that we make sure that is getting done, but we also need to make sure that if we find a mistake and if and when we find out what is happening in the city, we need to hold people accountable for what it is that they have done in our city. So yes, we need to make sure that if we find a mistake, we need to make sure that we address it, that we come up with solutions, and we fix what the error or mistake might be. And again, we hold people accountable for their decisions.
We got 2 questions left. Let's see if we can get through them. What are the primary avenues you see that you can improve the quality of life for the residents of your district? So what are the primary avenues that you see that you can improve the quality of life for the residents of your district?
In my district, I've been knocking on a lot of doors, and it's been an amazing experience for me. That is the best part of running, honestly, that is knocking on doors and getting to know your neighbors. By knocking on doors, I'm able to get in tune with what it is that they're having issues with. One of the biggest complaints is roads, making sure that we have safe roads. I have a neighbor who kept complaining about her tires because of our bumpy roads and potholes. Safety, making sure that we have more than enough officers, quality of life, that's part of our quality of life. Making sure that we have safe parks. I have a neighbor that's right across the street from a park, and he doesn't want to go to that park and take his grandkids there because of all of the drugs that are being left behind. That is also a big part of our quality of life, making sure that our neighborhoods are not being neglected because of bigger projects that are happening in the city. We need to make sure that we keep growing, but at the same time that we acknowledge and we can make sure that we keep our existing residents' neighborhoods nice and clean. Code compliance is something that I am very interested in getting into this seat so I can learn a little bit more about how I can help my neighbors get in contact with our city and making the whole process much better for them.
Thank you. Mr. Conchas?
Yes, so for me, I also would like some more code compliance. I also want to make sure that we keep bulk trash because that's extremely popular in the Cactus District and across Glendale. I also want to address the sales tax. We have one of the highest sales tax here in the region, and so we need to look at that. Also, I want to point out that only 8% there are 8% of Glendale residents that don't have a car, so they use public transportation. We need to increase those opportunities for our seniors and people with disabilities. And right now, 70% of our bus stops don't have shade. And so we need to create more shade for our people who are using public transportation. I will also advocate for more paramedics. We need more paramedics in order to keep our people healthy and make sure that they're addressing any of these issues. Some of the other things that I want to do is we need dog parks. We need a dog park in the Cactus District. People love their pets. When I'm knocking on doors, it's the dogs that greet me first, and sometimes they scare me. We also need cold filtered water fountains for people who are walking their dogs and people who are unhoused. We need digital literacy for seniors. We need financial literacy for kids and their families. We need to advocate for every single person in our district who has a seen and unseen disability. We should build a library in the Cactus District. There should be no reason why we do not have a library there. We need jobs for veterans, and we need to increase community services. And I think this shows my commitment to new ideas and to fresh ideas and to new proposals, while my opposition keeps trying to defame me and also alters my face with artificial intelligence.
Okay, so I'm going to have to apologize because we were doing so well about getting questions answered. I forgot to reserve you closing statement time. So I hope you'll all forgive me if we run over about, maybe 4 minutes. We're going to stop with the questions. I really do so much appreciate you guys coming and answering the public's questions. And now I would like to give you the opportunity for your closing statement. So I think you started with the opening statement, right? So I think Mrs. Encinas should start with her closing statement. 2 minutes.
All right, well, as you can tell, I am coming from grassroots. I have still so much to learn, but I am here humbled, and I am here ready to learn and listen and make sure that our residents are being represented the right way. And I keep saying all just because a lot of my residents feel that they are not being heard or they're being ignored. I know that I have the qualifications to get the job done. I've proven myself more than one time owning more than one business. I'm able to keep a budget. I'm able to organize, make sure I'm a multitasker. I know what our residents are looking for because I took the time to go door to door and listen to them. I know that I still have so much to learn when it comes to the council, but right now I am starting at the doors because it is very important to me to make sure that once I do get to that seat, that I will be able to put into place all of my skills that I already know how to get the job done, but I need the material. I need to know what it is that our city needs and what our residents are looking for. When it comes to our fire and our police department. I am going to be an advocate for both. I've seen how hard you have worked for us, and it's very important for our residents to feel safe and for them to have all the resources needed to get their job done. I am here to make sure that you have the right person advocating for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Contis?
Well, first, I want to start my closing statement by thanking Vice Mayor Hugh for his continued service to the district. Win or lose, I want to work with him to get things done for the Cactus District. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to my ideas on public safety. Thank you to listening to my ideas on affordable housing and on economic opportunity for all. And thank you to my family, who is here tonight, but also to my family that couldn't be here. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to all of the volunteers who have been knocking on thousands and thousands of doors in the Cactus District in this extreme heat wave. Thank you to all of my endorsers, the Glendale Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to all of the unions that have put their name behind me and supported Lupe Conchas for the Glendale City Council. I also want to thank all of the elected officials, the small business owners, and particularly I want to thank my friend Representative Annalise Ortiz for pushing me out of my bubble and getting me to run for the City Council. I also want to thank all of my donors. Thank you for all of you who have given me your treasure. We have used this in the most effective way. We are running a campaign on transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership. And for me, I just want to also thank all of the voters. The voters who have opened their doors to me and have had engaging conversations. And most of them, of course, great conversations in supporting me. And even those folks who said respectfully, I'm supporting someone else, but thank you so much for coming to my door. For them, I say thank you so much for engaging in this democracy. This democracy is the most important thing for me. I am a product of the American dream, and I think that free and fair elections are important, and that's why I support the police, because they ensure that we have free and fair elections, and that me and my family are safe throughout this entire journey. So I also want to thank the Glendale Women's Club for this tradition and for your professionalism and your kindness. And I look forward to being the next city council person for the Cactus District for the city of Glendale. Thank you.
Round of applause for our candidate. Again, I just really want to thank you for attending tonight. I'm really sorry that we couldn't have a full panel, but we got through the questions. We would need more time if we did. I certainly hope this was educational for our voters out there. Maybe you got just a little more insight into your potential candidates, and if it will help you when you're ready to cast those votes at the polls. Again, I want to thank our club members very much for coming out and helping, making sure we got all set up and making sure we had a good plan to pull this off. And to Brian for filming for us back there. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. He only got the call a couple days ago, so thank you. Let's see what else we got here. And well, just in general, I really want to thank our audience. Thank you so much for coming, helping to participate, and being a part of this forum. So, hope you had fun. I think they call it meeting adjourned. Thank you.